Alright, guys. So, welcome back to another Patreon request, and this one comes from Tom Hibbert, who asked me to do a kind of a RWBY adaptation of a Hulk story, and that is Planet Hulk. Or should I say Planet Yang? So, let's get into it. So, the story begins basically with Ruby and the team on a mission after getting reports of this secret. And let's say this is like a nebulous point in volumes 5 and 6, and it's somewhere in between volumes 6 and 7. Let me rephrase that. And basically what it is that Ironwood has sent the team to alongside the Aesops to a facility that is like a black ops facility, a blacked out facility that is holding new weapons to combat the Grimm and Salem. So they're sent out there, and sure enough, Tyrion's there with a bunch of Grimm, and they're wrecking shit. But because they're trying to find something, Salem has sent them to find a machine that will let them get out into space. Basically, Ironwood and the rest of Atlas has basically been looking for a way to conquer space travel. Not to combat Salem, but more like as a last-ditch effort, because Tyrion reveals that Watts discovered that what it is that in case Atlas fails in defeating Salem, they can't beat them, what's going to happen is that this is they're going to build a ship and take who they can off-world and find somewhere else, with Atlas in charge. Atlas takes full control, saves what citizens they can, and they find a new world. They just find a new world that's habitable for them, and that's it. So during the fight, of course, Ruby and the rest of them are like, God damn it, Ironwood. But what happens is that during all this, Yang is locked in the ship, and it has coordinates to be out in space, and Tyrion just goes, LOL, boop, and Yang is shot out into space. So, for all intents and purposes, Ruby thinks she just lost her sister. She just thinks she saw her sister just die. She just goes full Silver Eyes on everyone, and Tyrion and the rest of them get away, and Tyrion's like, holy fucking shit, that was scary. Meanwhile, Yang is shot out, is in the depths of space. However, if you know where this story is going, that's not where this is where it's going to end. So, what happens is that Yang is thrown out into the depths of space, and basically what happens is a wormhole pulls the ship in and shoots her out to a planet. But it's not Sakaar. This is not Sakaar. This is basically this is the Triceraton homeworld. Yep. So this is the home of the Triceratons from TMNT, and basically she's been the Triceratons find the ship, they capture Yang, they throw her in with everyone. They throw her in with the other gladiators, and essentially she has to fight every day for the Triceratons' amusement. She gets thrown into she gets tossed into a match with this huge hulking spider-like monster, and she just flat out just kills it. She just flat out just murders it. And everyone's like, I think we have a fighter here. So who are the Warbound? Who are the Warbound in this story? Who's the Warbound in this big story? Well, for starters, we have Dominator, who has been... This is after the show, so she's just been wandering space and was captured by the Triceratons and forced to be a gladiator. She now depends on her fighting skills as well as swords and any kind of weapons they give her to fight. IG-88, yeah, we're kind of mixing it up a bit. Why not? So we have IG-88 from Star Wars, who is of course an assassin droid. He was sent to do a mission. He failed to do that mission, so they basically were like, well, we're taking the droid and making you into a gladiator for our entertainment. And IG-88's like, statement. Fuck. So IG-88 is on this team. You also have Toffee, who's here. He's been captured because this is before the events of Star Versus, and he basically went to go out and look for a Dominator. He found her at the same time he got roughly the same time she got captured. So they're together in here. As for others, you have Topaz. The Topaz fusions that Aquamarine had, they were banished and now are sold as gladiators, and they remain as a fusion. So that's kind of our team right now. So that's kind of a mixture of heroes and villains all put together, and Yang is our Hulk. So they have to battle their way through, just mountains of opponents, like one being a Rancor. Yeah, a Rancor is one of the main villains, and it's not like the young one Luke fought. This is a fully grown one, like a big angry son of a bitch. They also take on giant robots. They take on assassin droids. They take on just a lot. They have to fight their way through a lot of opponents. And Yang is basically like, I just want to get home. Like, I just want to get back home to Remnant. And Dominator's like, you're not getting off this world. The only way you are getting off this world is if you beat Emperor Zamaran. If you beat him in a fight. And even Dominator says, I could probably do it if I had my armor, but obviously I don't. Even then, I'm like, if I could take on Zamaran, it would be a stretch even for me if I did have my armor and beat him in combat, because that dude is tough. Not to mention you have to fight, I don't know, the whole fucking Triceraton army. So eventually they do also have the little Warbound, because they're all like, well, we're gladiators, so we may as well just team up and work together. They also are joined by Zethrid and Exor, who are also captured from Voltron, Legendary Defender. So Zethrid and Exor are become part of the team, and the group has to fight their way through multiple opponents. And you're probably wondering, well, who's the Silver Surfer in this story? Like, who gets to be the Silver Surfer in this story? Like, who is the Silver Surfer? Well, the Silver Surfer is Space Ghost. Yeah, Space Ghost is the champion Yang has to beat to earn her freedom, because that's her first thing is I gotta win my freedom, so I gotta get to the champion, and the champion is a enslaved Space Ghost. And Space Ghost is like, I don't want to hurt you because I've heard great things about you, Yang, so please don't. It's but I'm being forced to do this with the slave disc. And Yang just clocks him, and she's like, look, buddy, I have no problem, but I got no problem going through you. But Space Ghost has his gauntlets. He's putting up a great fight, and by this point Zamaran's also kind of freaking, because Yang's getting a lot of love from the people, even from the enslaved worlds the Triceratons have. She's getting a lot of love from everyone around, from the other worlds, so they're kind of seeing as a champion. So he's hoping Space Ghost finally kills her, but Yang does defeat Space Ghost in combat and earn her freedom. So by that point, Yang is like, I won, give me my freedom so I can find a way to get back home. And Zamaran's like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. However, Space Ghost does use his gauntlets to deactivate the other slave discs. Now that he has his full control back, he frees the other slaves and they break out. Space Ghost goes back to the stars, where Yang kind of becomes a freedom fighter. So she's like, I will find a way to go back home sometime, but these people need me. She's more or less keeping an audio diary for herself and basically writing it like she's writing to Ruby. And she's like, Ruby, I'm gonna find a way to get back to you. I'm gonna find a way to get back to Blake, especially. Just keep Blake safe and keep yourself safe. But for now, I'm gonna stay out here and keep everyone safe. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be protecting everyone from Zamaran and lead my own little have this little rebellion keep going. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much Planet Yang. It does kind of end with this story being like Yang being a freedom fighter and leading an army of former gladiators and slaves against the Triceratons. So that's where, so that's the story. I'd like to thank Tom Hibbert for coming up with this idea. This was a lot of fun to do. As always, you guys tell me in the comments below what you guys think of it. And like I've said before, if you would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, and hit the 4th tier where you can send me your you can send me requests to do here on YouTube. But other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.